Well, hello everyone, Dylan here. Happy Throwback Thursday, and the rotation leads us to a Star Wars review. And this one's on what you're looking at, the Flash Speeder, and also Anakin's custom Jedi Starfighter, aka As Your Angel, from 2015, of course. So on the front of the box here that I have for Flash Speeder here, have the Lego Star Wars logo and same border as all the sets from this time, and picture of the set in action on Naboo and Disney logo, all the minifigs included, and recommended ages is 7 to 12. Set number 75091 has 312 pieces. And now onto the back side of the box, where you have a picture of the set in a resting position and a little comic strip with the set, and then all the little pic of all the minifigs. So quite different stuff they were doing at this time, but yeah. And then after lego.com/Star Wars, logos again, and there. And now onto the instruction manuals. So on the manuals, which for Flash Speeder, same pictures on the front of the box, but whereas for As Your Angel, which kind of shown on crystal on Coruscant, of course. On the backside, how to win on the online survey. And then after the minifigs included in the sets of this wave here, and then advertisement of all the sets, or all or most of the sets of this wave, which Naboo Starfighter next Throwback Thursday. And so subscribe and look forward to that. And Tidarium Shuttle, previously reviewed. And then all the pieces that come with the set, of course. And then the last building steps there are. Then ad for the website. Advertisement for most other sets from the time. And the features of the set. And all the pieces that come with the set, of course. Which is 2 pages. And then the last building steps. And now on to the minifigs. First of which for the minifigs include with Flash Speeder, of which is just a regular battle droid with the straight arm, same since 2007, and also but everything else same as it's always been, but otherwise, which you get 2 of in this set, but otherwise good for army building. And next to which we have a Naboo security officer, which with quite nice, which the torso print like printing, all quite nice for how it is, and headpiece or hat piece, which really nice kind of one with the back flap part, and also some nice sculpting and print work, gold printing on the front, quite cool. And also the face printing, a quite generic face print, but yeah. And then the back side of which very slight but good back torso printing. Again, that's about it there. And now onto another or different Naboo security officer, but with similar torso print, but with some yellow instead of sand blue, and also the later style cap piece for that, which the printing really nice for how it is, with the similar gold print to it, and also similar face printing, and also some nice back torso printing as well. But yeah, but however, these 2 officer figs, which the same that came in the MTT set released the year prior, but however that one was a limited edition set, but however this one was more widespread for that. So if you weren't able to get that MTT, then this is a good way to get them. But yeah, and also this is which worth a lot less. But yeah. And lastly, the only exclusive minifig to Flash Speeder is Captain Tarple, which only set we ever got to have him in. And of course with the nice lavender arms there, and then also torso print like printing, all of which really good for how it is, and the shield piece like we see on most Battle and Naboo sets then, and then of course wielding a long castle spear there, and then the headpiece, which is all just the same as Jar Jar Binks and also random Gungan warriors there. But now, kind of dual molded with lavender and printed with lavender as well. Which the earpiece is also the same as that, but however, all that's missing are the catfish whiskers that he tends to have in the movie, but that was not included on him. So maybe if he were remade, I would expect there to be those extra mustache whiskers for that, or easily could just print them on the snout. But that's just me. But I say that would be great to see. And that is it with the minifigs of the Flash Speeder. And now on to Anakin's Custom Jedi Starfighter. So for Anakin's Custom Jedi Starfighter, starting out with a Padawan version, Anakin Skywalker, which this whole version, same that came in the 2013 Republic gunship, but with similar printings to there, and also blue lightsaber as well. So although I think this version included the set, kind of fitting to that, and back torso print is also good as well. Well fitting to that since it's the old style Clone Wars set, and of course him in this styling in that version does make good sense. But yeah, but aside from that, good cheap way to get him. Whereas the Republic gunship from the time was worth like 120 bucks, but this one only 40, so worth a lot less than that. But yeah, and that's about it with Anakin. And next to which we have this random red astromech droid, which did oftentimes see in a few other sets like the Tatooine Battle Pack in 2018 and a few others. But yeah, but however where's the headpiece in red, and also all the printings all the same as R2-D2s and other astromech droids. But yeah, and that's about it there. And then lastly, for the main exclusive minifig to this set, the old style Clone Wars version of Asajj Ventress, which, as you can see, the face printing kind of similar to that of regular Asajj Ventress, but just without the Clone Wars style. But this was the only time we ever had Asajj Ventress in this style before, until last year with the V19 torrent set. However, the torso printing, which well captures the appearance from the old version of the show quite well. And like the other versions of Asajj Ventress, wielding a red lightsaber with a specific made hilt. But regularly in this set would be holding two of them, but the other of which not present here. But yeah, but however, the back torso printing also quite good, and also nice to see that design on the back head print. But yeah, also well fitting to that of the other versions of Asajj Ventress, but even though the other versions did have a little more darkish purple, but this is more lavender. But aside from that, still great to see something unique in Star Wars. But yeah, and that's about it with the minifigs. Now on to the sets. So first off for the sets is the Flash Speeder, which from first glance quite different than that of the original 2000 version of the Flash Speeder, and also like an oversized Luke's Land Speeder, as some would say, but also similarly sized to most other $30 sets after this one. But also nice to see a lot of green in this single set. But yeah, now first off for the front part of it, which kind of bit a sport car kind of look to it, but with the regular hood piece and windshield piece, and then also some all kinds of curved sloping around it. But however, these pieces, all of which all make it kind of thick and fat for that, but all I think should have slimmed it down a bit. But yeah, but actually I think still kind of workable for how it is. And then the curved sloping kind of continues like upwards, and then also like some sport car sets where you can like lift these up, and then which have easy accessibility to get inside, and which kind of opens up sideways. But yeah, and then as for the seating spaces, and which gets quite crazy, and then also do you have a stickered control panel, and well, two kinds, and also a couple handlebars for the steering mechanism of it. But however, and if you notice that there's like 2 spots with jumper plates and a regular jumper plate, because you can fit not 1, not 2, but 6 total figs in this set. So that major improvement over the original 2000 version. But yeah. And onto this farther backside of which does have the most things of the set going on, where if you notice these curved slopes with the vent tiles on brackets where you can pull them off and hide things in them. Like this one of which regular binocular piece in there. And then the other one of which is hard to get at, is a spot where you can hide 2 blasters into. So otherwise quite good, nice storage area for that. But as for this upper section, which has complete symmetry with these 2 engine-like assemblies, and then also some jagged slopes and plates holding to this mini turret on top for that, with a flip-fire missile piece, but just acting as like a front blaster to that. But however, with all 3 which are spring-loaded launchers, in which missiles do come included, and where you can tap on each of these, and also these 2 do rotate around for that. So as you can see, so let's try that one better. Obviously, plenty good firepower and good playability on there, and then also on this far backside, just another green tile piece just inverted for that, and then a whole lot of vacant space up here. Not sure why that is, but whatever. And then also to have these inverted tile pieces in clear, so it can hover around quite easily. And yeah, and that's about it with Flash Speeder. And now onto Anakin's custom Jedi Starfighter. And now onto Anakin's custom Jedi Starfighter here, which obviously, or otherwise as your Angel, which kind of similar build to most Jedi Starfighters, but luckily with a few different mods to it, obviously well fitting to them. And as for its shaping to the in-show appearance of it from the old style 2003 version Clone Wars, I say well captures it very well. But yeah, and also a neat color scheme of blue and white with a little dark blue and black here and there, although kind of similar to Plo Koon's one. But yeah, but at least there's these front flap parts which make it a little different, which I'll mention right now. So these front part of it, which includes these little wing-like flaps that are on mixable ball joints, and they are quite adjustable, which the most common side is to be like that. But then underneath the which is these little engine-like assemblies on some Technic pieces there, and then also these other engine pieces ending off there. So this is which quite similar to that of Jedi Bob's Starfighter in 2024, even with similar build to that, and of course different color scheme as well. But yeah, and underneath it you have retractable landing gear like most Jedi Starfighters and X-Wings tend to have, and also, and what that Technic rod is for, well, I'll mention that later. But yeah, and then also do have a long curved slope, and then a hanging bracket with cheek slopes on there, and onto the center body part, which is kind of mostly quite heavy with curved wedge plates and a large wedge plate to the side and hanging downwards for that, and then curved slopes around here, and then also a little hinge or deep area in here, and also with a pair of jumpers on there. And also, like the other Starfighter sets, can fit the aspect droid in there. But however, on most versions, but in the shows, they're supposed to go like sideways rather than like that. Not sure why, but whatever. And I guess that's about it there. And onto the sides of this set, which include these wing parts, which these tail fin wing pieces, is of most airplane sets, which are used 3 times in this set, and also have a couple of bars and pins acting as extra blasters, and also has 2 spring-loaded launchers on both sides of them, which, and in terms of that, can like load them up. But although you get a lot of the missiles in blue in this set, which is nice to see, which also on the 2016 what's it called, Clone Turbo Tank set as well. And of course, although you can like tap on these and they launch off like that, so plenty good playability on this set as well. And then also underneath the set is do have the little Technic rubber pieces on there where you can like slide them in and acts as easy storage on there. And then also like some Starfighter sets is a couple of jagged slopes and an inverted plate on there acting as more landing gear to it. And then also a couple more of those pieces again, and also astromech droid head pieces with dishes, but in trans blue as the engine part to it. And then lastly, for the cockpit area, which as you see with 2 different carbon pieces is centered around it, kind of like we have with Sassy Tin's Jedi Starfighter in 2012, and also the same campy piece as the rest that from Atlantis that flips open, and also do have a little spot to store the monocular piece, and then also some other ship also from the same show as it, one that Asajj Ventress flies in. And also that one of which would be great to see as a set, which hopefully they can do that someday, but yeah. And also enough space to fit your Anakin minifig into and close it right over like so. And then also behind it is another one of these tail wing piece on there, but just on kind of a hinge piece to make it more curved like that. But there's a little more. But also what you can also do is, unlike most would, and also like the 2012 Sassy Tin's one, you can like pop this right off and it's an extra little escape pod to there. So quite fun for how it is. And also do have a couple clip pieces underneath mainly to store the lightsaber onto, like we oftentimes see on most sets. And so otherwise a lot of good features of this set, but yeah. And that's about it with Anakin's Custom Jedi Starfighter. So for my overall verdict, I think these of which are really good sets, mainly the Anakin's Custom Jedi Starfighter, or as I'll now call As You Were Angel, which is what it's better called as. Well, however, which a great set for how it is, but whereas for Flash Speeder, which I say, which is pretty good for how it is, like despite having only one exclusive minifig, of which being Captain Tarple. But although I think what also could have been included is maybe instead of the battle droids be what's their name, Queen Amidala, well, same version that came in the 2012 Gungan subset, well, as fitting to the episode 1 theme of it. Or maybe that would have been a little too much, but yeah. But however, still good to include 2 battle droids as well. And so now, and obviously Captain Tarple's, of which not quite perfect, despite not having the whisker parts to him, although that, but I'm sure that can come on a remake version of him, if there ever gets to be. And whereas for the first version of it, that was out in 2000, which was quite good for how it is, but whereas most people, which would have been fine if it was never remade, but however, it was remade here, and luckily, it's actually really good for how it is. Now, if it were remade yet again now, I think it'd probably be almost as good as this, or at least a little better, but yeah. But whereas for the As You Were Angel, which great to see an extra variety of sets, like mainly a one-off set from the old style version of Clone Wars. Really wish there could be some other sets from it as well, like Mace Windu's Jag Interceptor and Asajj Ventress's ship in few others. And also would be nice from some of the other classic Star Wars shows like Droids and Ewoks, and also, or maybe even the Ewok adventure movies that there are. Like, you know, just something a little different to have around, since we're used to like the sets from like the Skywalker saga, the Clone Wars, and the Mandalorian, but also and previously a handful from like Star Wars Rebels and so on. And of course, but also very few from like Jedi Fallen Order and Battlefront, but they were just randomly picked, and also battle packs. But yeah, but however, this set in particular, great to have extra variety like that. So, however, these sets for the times of which for $30 to $40, quite good for how they work. Even though, despite being worth a little now, I say still great for how they are. But yeah. So this which kind of a sign where it got something which quite good for those lowish prices. Even though 40 may be a little high for some folks, but yeah. And now, if any of you still have these sets from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of them. And for those of you who have it and are still looking to get these sets, I say definitely pick them up. eBay, Bricklink, Mercari, Bricks and Minifigs, whatever. And that's it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.